You're tuned in to the Dakota Housing Network on Supertalk 1270 and supertalk1270.com. In-depth discussion and analysis of real estate issues nationwide and those issues unique to our area. Our team of experts includes Joe Sheehan, Greg Larson, Dave Floor, Brian Ritter, and a great variety of guests. The Dakota Housing Network begins now on Supertalk 1270 and supertalk1270.com.
Welcome to the most powerful hour of real estate radio on the Strip in Mandan.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right. That's it.
Joe Sheehan here with Dave Floor.
Greg Larson.
Joe. The Joe Mobile is back in town.
I am,
Did you find those low interest rates out there?
You know what? They are still out there.
You found them.
They're
because
everywhere.
I think they went down this week, and you were out searching and you found them. Way to go, man. We're proud of you.
I'm pulling up FreddieMac.com to look at that. You're going to go ahead and give us Barry Habib's.
Okay, we'll do a little MBS Highway from our friend Barry Habib.
What's going on with mortgage interest rates, Barry?
Well, this morning, he says lock because the trend is heading back the other way, apparently. Even though the rates have come down probably in the last week. I think they were at like 2-month lows as of Tuesday or Wednesday, yesterday. But Barry's saying that stocks are pointed higher and mortgage bonds are trading near unchanged levels. Recent stock market correction has been significant. Now, this is kind of interesting. The S&P 500 is now corrected 10% from a near 52-week high for the second time in a relatively short span. Now, Barry references a fellow named Art Cashin, who Cashin is, I guess, a legend on Wall Street. Mm-hmm. As far as the stock market goes. And Art says that why 10% corrections within a short period of time is meaningful, why that is, it's only happened 3 times in the last 100 years. And those occurrences were in 1929, 2000, and 2008. The Great Depression, the dot-com bubble, and the financial crisis. So are we headed that way again? We'll find out.
Well, and the Bank of Scotland also came out.
And the bank said, sell everything.
Sell.
Catastrophe coming.
Sell everything and go in the bunker.
Yeah.
That was even actually more than that. It was sell everything and load the gun.
The Royal Bank of Scott. The Scots said, sell it. I can't do a Scottish accent very good. Sell!
Yeah.
The end of the world is coming.
Run for your life.
But they said sell and move everything into bonds.
Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Hold on to both cheeks because she's coming in hot.
And they said buy bonds. And I said, well, I'm thinking, well, what bonds?
What bonds?
If it's a catastrophe, what bonds are you going to buy?
No, you don't even buy gold when it's going to be that bad. Who cares?
I saw somebody said, well, should I
buy bullets?
Somebody said, should I put it in my mattress bonds then? Is that the deal? Or
pass bullets. That's anyway. It's buy the bullets.
Yeah, so we got all kinds of things pointing at just catastrophe all over the place here.
Mm-hmm.
But quiet news day.
The thing is they're pointing like this, arms crossed.
There you go.
Pointing
both
in both
ways.
directions.
Yeah, go this way, no that way. Yeah. Let's see. Jobless claims, we had those this week. They were up 7,000 from last week. They're at 284,000. That's the worst level since early July, but it's still the 45th consecutive week that jobless claims have remained below the $300,000 mark, which is a good sign because that is the longest such stretch since the early 1970s. Of course, that would get us back into the what is the real unemployment rate, right?
Yep.
Versus the U3 versus U6.
U6.
How many
it's so funny about this.
When decided to go on welfare?
Yeah.
When did we start talking about the U6 unemployment rate?
Oh, I don't know, about 2 years ago.
No, it was more than that, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's amazing how now all of a sudden everybody recognizes now. Finally, we have a cultural literacy that recognizes the unemployment rate isn't the unemployment rate.
Thanks to this show.
Yeah, no.
Thanks.
Yeah,
in a little small part. Thanks to this show.
Yep, all 2 people who listen to us.
Yep.
Thanks, Mom.
I collected somebody else this week that said, "Hey, I hear you on the radio all the time."
That's my sister.
He's a builder.
Oh.
No, so that was
well,
good.
Let's not out him.
No.
I used to listen. No, they lie.
I'd like to send a shout out to all 3 of my fans.
It's Steve Hoffman at Big River Builders, by the way.
Did you say Steve Hoffman at Big River
Big
Builders?
River Builders, yes, that's what I said.
And the authorities and Homeland
So
Security will be at your
hopefully-
door shortly, Steve.
Hopefully Steve is listening. Okay.
So Big River Builders.
At Big River Builders, yeah.
Steve, we apologize for all the bad things that are about to happen to you from here.
Drive by their sign at Washington Avenue B. They're doing a big addition to a house there.
Nice.
Okay.
Big sign there. Nice job. All right.
Thanks, Steve, for listening.
Okay, import prices, they fell. That's to a stronger dollar, so we're still facing the headwind of the stronger dollar that's making our imports cheaper and all that good stuff. Let's see what he got. That's about what Barry said. He said lock.
Hey,
Because
Fed
right now
funds,
we don't know where it's going.
Fed funds, we'll go to the mortgage market guide here, and we'll talk about the Freddie Mac primary mortgage market survey here in just a second. The Fed fund futures are pricing in at a 38% chance of a rate hike in March, down from 45%, almost zero chance of a hike later this month.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and the Freddie Mac.
Freddie.
Freddie, what are you going to say?
We don't know.
And it's a 3.92% on the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, 0.6 discount. So paying a little bit of a fee there to get that under 4% nationwide. 15-year fixed rate mortgage at 3.19 with a half-point discount. So
What were they last week?
Last week. Drum roll, please.
Okay.
That's as good as
The
it gets.
fixed. I wish I could do Casey Kasem. And this long-distance dedication coming
there
in
you go, yeah.
from Aunt Fanny to Uncle Freddie.
That's all right. You don't have that voice.
3.97 last
Okay,
week.
well, they were down.
Down,
That's what we said.
5 hundredths of a point. In the 15-year, 3.26.
I don't know why. Why does Freddie Mac even do that survey? All they have to do is just call us on our show and we'd know. We said it right off the top. Said rates went down this week.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, we definitely, we got a little bit of improvement there. Mortgage market guide's advice is the same,
Lock.
saying that that you should lock in your interest rates. And what's behind this is it has to do with the 200-day moving average, folks, and this is trading language. But the fact that stocks took as big a hit,
10% correction.
it's kind of like Rocky 3 when Mr. T gave everything he could to Rocky, and Rocky didn't get fazed by it.
Yeah.
And then it was all going to be bad for Mr. T from there. Well, stocks took a bad hit, and interest rates just didn't improve much from it. And so basically based on that, they're going, hey, if that couldn't help interest rates improve from here, this may be the bottom on interest rates. This may be where they're at. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Doesn't mean that interest rates are going to go up significantly, but certainly this was a great shot for interest rates to get better, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to the break.
So the interest rates are going, yeah, Adrian!
Yeah, they're going.
Yeah.
They're going. I didn't feel that. You can't hurt me. Yeah, hit me again.
Come on.
I didn't hurt.
Wait for him to get tired.
Yo, Mick, cut me, Mick, cut me.
No, what's he doing? He's getting mad.
Yeah.
Stocks are getting mad. So anyway, stocks in this case would be playing Rocky.
Yeah.
And interest rates would be Mr. T. And the interest rates had their best shot, and they didn't get it.
Yeah.
So
Is Janet yelling Mickey then?
Mickey was gone by then. All right, so
okay,
Creed was in the corner.
That's right.
So,
okay.
hey, after the break, we will talk about more stuff. But we got some stuff from the NAR economist, and we got some big news. He may be coming on the show down the road.
Yeah.
So, some other good news after the break here on the Dakota Real Estate Network.
On Super Talk 1270, right now 28.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
And welcome back to the Dakota Housing Network.
David Bowie Day on
David Bowie Day, little memoriam.
Youngster,
David passed
right? I
away.
mean, he wasn't only in his
69.
Yep.
He had cancer. Just put out a brand new album. Record.
Good one. Good album.
Whatever. I guess it's supposed to be good. Yeah, I haven't heard it.
Really good.
I haven't heard it, but little David Bowie today. Honor his memory. All right. Let's see. Okay, I got a couple things. These are by the numbers.
Nice.
Okay, predictions. Right? End of the year. Let's do it. What some people that predicted some things that were going to happen by the end of the year. T. Boone Pickens. We all know who T. Boone Pickens is, right?
Yep.
Oklahoma. Kind of a big oil guy, right?
Amarillo,
Very famous
Texas.
energy man.
Amarillo,
Yep.
Texas.
Okay.
Natural gas.
Well, in May in Vegas, so he might have been doing something else in Vegas. T. Boone predicted that the price of a barrel of oil, which at the time was trading at $58.92, would rise to $70 a barrel by December 31st. Pickens said demand is very, very good this year for oil, and that supply is going to get tight due to the number of oil rigs that have been shuttered production. And we all know where oil prices are right now, below 30, okay?
T-Boone didn't pick it.
No, the opposite side of that, oil industry analyst Brian Milne of energy manager Schneider Electric predicted in a January 13th, 2015 article that West Texas crude, which was at 51.07 that day, is likely to drop below 40 and possibly break $30 a barrel. I think he nailed it.
He nailed it.
He nailed it.
You know, I think that I think some of it comes into the egocentrism of America in terms of when we look at our economy and you know, the global picture. China is just hurting.
Yeah, and we don't know because how bad, because they're not going to tell us.
Right, and that's the thing is that with China offline, really in terms of growth, this is one of the reasons why, you know, outside of where do interest rates go up? Where do you drive interest rates go up? The only way that you see interest rates going up is if there's just a flat out lack of confidence in the safety of the U.S. safe haven, and people bail on that.
Right.
That is the only thing, is some sort of earthquake.
And where else?
Confidence of U.S. securities.
And the thing is, where else is anybody going to go with their money?
The ground.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's basically it. So
you're going to say something, Jim?
I was going to say, does this mean that China is not going to surpass us anytime soon? Remember that whole thing a couple of months ago? China is the number one economy in the world. All of a sudden, nobody's saying that anymore.
Yeah, they had to have almost double-digit growth for a decade. It was
to catch us.
To catch us.
Yes.
In terms of the size of their economy, and that was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The stats were put out that China could catch our economic size. It was going to take double-digit growth for about 10 years, which wasn't impossible. That wasn't like saying.
Yeah, because they were doing like 8% or 9%, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't something that was completely unfeasible.
Yeah.
And they have grown for a decade at double digits before.
Yeah.
So it was not something. It wasn't like it was something that it like being saying, you know, the Patriots are favorite for the Super Bowl again. I mean, you could say that almost every year. You know? It was one of those things, but clearly, China being offline, oil. Where's the inflation come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where interest,
exactly right.
The enemy of interest, the enemy of low interest rates is inflation. Yeah. You've got the European governments printing money, which is, you know, increasing the velocity of money over there with no inflation.
So it is going to be very interesting to see what the Federal Reserve does come March as their next meeting, and see will they do anything. It's got to be hard.
I think they almost got to raise rates again
because they kind of told us they were going to.
I think they have to have the ability to lower interest rates if the U.S. economy hits a recession. They have to have that ability, and I you know, one of them came out. I think there's the truth, and then there's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I think so. So I think the truth is the one Fed who came out, and I can't remember if he's New York or Philadelphia or who he was, but he's definitely, you know, he's a hawk. He came out and said he believed that we could raise them 5. He didn't say we should, or we're going to. He said we could raise them 5 times this year. Mm-hmm. I think that's the truth.
Yeah.
I think that's the truth. I think we could raise them 5 times this year.
They might do that.
And it would have almost no impact on investor confidence, or I think everybody's borrowing. So the people who are borrowing in that space, because folks, remember when the Fed raises interest rates on the short-term borrowing money, that does not impact fixed rate mortgages.
No.
In fact, adjustable rates, but not fixed rate mortgages. The people borrowing in that space are likely not going to not do the deal over that change, a 0.5% change in the short-term rates.
If they raise it 5 times, we're at what, 0.5% now, right? Basically, so they raise
you're slightly over 1 and 3 quarters.
So you get up to 1.5, 1 3/4.
Yeah,
that's just not. Yeah. It's not going to have a big effect, I don't think. At
the premium that Ginnies and stuff are still selling at, I'm still not sure that places like PIMCO aren't still doing a carry trade. At that price. I don't. One of the things happening in the background, folks, that keeps interest rates low is big bond buyers like PIMCO. What they're doing is they're going to the Fed, they're borrowing money at almost 0%. Then they go out and they buy Fannie Mae, Freddie Mae, and Treasuries, and they buy them because basically like using a credit card, because the premiums they're guaranteed a 2 to 4% margin depending on how they trade.
Right.
And then what they do is they sell back out of them as buyers come in, and then they go back and pay the Fed off.
Yeah.
And they're using the Fed's money, and it's called the carry trade.
Yeah.
But so instead of being able to buy 100 million in securities today, they buy 200 million in securities today, which of course that increase in buyer demand helps keep rates low. And
keeps the premiums that they earn up.
And so maybe you'd see an impact in the carry trade if it went up, but I don't know if you.
And folks, PIMCO is a huge mutual fund. Billions of dollars under advisement. So they move the market when they do things. And I don't think that would make a huge difference to them. If they're getting 3% premium, okay, we got to pay 1.5%. Well, that's still a better place for our money than anywhere else.
Yeah. So outside of there being some earthquake, some catastrophe in the mindset of investors that says the U.S. safe havens like Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, and the U.S. Treasuries are not a good investment.
Yeah. Outside
of something like that, I don't know.
Like we said, there's just nowhere else for people.
So I think the Fed
could
go up. I think the Fed could go up 5. Yeah. You'd see some blips in the stock market just because people would reposition themselves.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know that it would wreck the world. No. Anybody can call in. 663-1270 if you think we're. It's okay. Put away the meth, Greg. We're gonna.
Okay. Right. One last prediction, and this comes from a movie, Back to the Future Part 2.
Okay.
Okay, in 1989, it predicted by 1915 we would have personal drones. Check, right?
Check.
Mobile payment technology. Check.
Check.
Hands-free gaming consoles. I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer, but yeah, okay. Video phones. Check. Check. And hoverboards. Check. Yeah. Biggest Christmas present this year, right? Or last year? Yeah. Okay. So, boy, Back to the Future. I don't know who wrote the movie, but.
Well, coming up in the last half of the hour, we're going to talk about the Quicken Rocket loan. We're going to talk about, Greg, what do you got for us?
Well, I've got National Association of Realtors chief economist prediction for what the housing is going to do in 2016, and we've got.
So we'll talk about that in the next segment.
Yep. So I hope he's a better predictor than T-Boone.
And he's a little better than T-Boone.
And we're holding the best for last. In the last, you've got some market statistics.
I do.
And we'll talk about that at the end of we'll close with that at the end of the hour.
And then you got a great question for us about HARP.
I have a great
question.
Well,
we can answer that question right now before the break.
All right, tell me quick.
We got time. All right.
I've had several questions. You look on Facebook all over the place. Everyone says, "Why aren't you doing HARP? Why aren't you doing a HARP loan, which is a home affordable refinance?"
Because you can only get those loans in heaven.
Yeah. Why isn't it happening in North Dakota? Why aren't people
Only
doing it?
God can give you a HARP loan.
That's right.
Yeah. Your loan officer's Jesus. So, no, the HARP, what the HARP, Home Affordable Refinance Program. What that was specifically designed. Been around a long time, actually.
Since 2010, 11.
Yeah, I've been pushing this for a long time, and it was designed. What's so funny? Okay, it's a subprime loan.
That's right. We will never do this again.
Don't say that.
It's so funny because exactly what it was.
No, it's not.
It's a loan by Fannie and Freddie.
No, it's not.
That is designed to help underwater borrowers refinance their home without having to prove their income and without having to prove their value of their home. It's basically they can simply refinance their house to a lower rate or out of their adjustable rate as long as they make their payments on time. As long as their mortgage payments are paid on time, you run the decision engine. They qualify for HARP. All you have to do is then you don't have to do all the verifications. You don't have to get an appraisal, and they can refinance as long as they're not getting cash back. The reason why we don't do them in North Dakota, we don't have underwater properties. And the truth is that we can probably get you a better interest rate not using the HARP program, especially if you've had an improvement in your home value. Yep. So if you were at 80%, what a lot of people don't understand is you start going below 75% loan to value, there's an interest rate break there.
Mm-hmm.
And we can pass that interest rate break on to you as a lender if we verify the value. without that, the HARP rate is the HARP rate, and I mean,
So if you've had your home for a while, or if you put a lot down when you bought it within the last couple of years, you like Joe just said, a lender can do much better for you than the HARP program.
So the sweet irony is, subprime loans are what got us in trouble. So
that's
do some more.
So to get us out of trouble, we'll rename it and authorize subprime loans.
It's a sign. I tell you,
Works for me.
Do some more.
The whole thing is a Seinfeld episode.
I think it's
we have to sleep together to save the relationship.
Yeah.
It's a Seinfeld. The whole thing.
In defense of HARP, it has helped.
It has.
A lot of people.
No, it has.
It has helped people.
Actually, we're fans of HARP. Actually, just so you know, it's just the irony of it.
Yeah.
After the break, we're coming back with economic news from NAR and all kinds of other good stuff. The Rocket Loan.
Right now, 28.
The home for ABC News at the top of the hour. It's Super Talk 1270.
We were just talking about David Bowie. It never seemed like he was the same twice. Like
He didn't. He said he didn't repeat himself, or he sure didn't appear that he
creative
did.
genius.
Rested on his laurels.
There you go. Good one, Jim.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, Dakota Real Estate Network, Dakota Housing Network. I'm sorry, I'd use them both.
One or
Housing,
two.
real estate.
Yeah. Okay. Dave
Whatever.
Floor,
Houses,
Greg
real
Larson,
estate,
Joe
banking.
Sheehan.
Somebody Sheehan,
Yeah.
All those guys.
Person Larson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, hey, Greg, you got some interesting facts here.
I do.
But then behind that, you've got
Some interesting
the NAR
facts.
forecast.
I know.
Somebody that we're working hard to get on the show if we can.
Yep. And I think we may see that happen. We've opened the conversation. We're talking about Lawrence Young. He's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. This is a guy, when he talks, people listen. He's one of those guys who's very rarely wrong. And when he is, he's the first guy out to say why he is wrong. So just 2 days ago, he released his preliminary...
It's a big deal for an economist to be right, since their record is actually worse than a weather forecast.
Yeah, it kind of is. 2 days ago, he released his 2016 predictions. It comes out in the form of a video first, and so what I've got here is a summary of the video. 2016, he expects that we will... 2015 was the housing market's best year in nearly a decade nationwide. 2014 was the best housing market in North Dakota. 15 was off a tick, but not much. But anyway, 2016, he says it's going to grow at a more moderate rate as pent-up buyer demand combats affordability pressures. That's fancy talk that means there's a lot of people that want to buy and can't afford to, and now they think they're going to get it done some this year. He says the expectations for the U.S. economy and housing market in 2016 are going to improve because of that. There's some sustained job growth, which we talked about. We have improving inventory conditions, and so we think that all's good. The things that are going to slow it down, the things we've already talked about, he thinks there's going to be some rising mortgage rates, some moderately rising mortgage rates.
Okay.
Home prices will continue to rise. He thinks that they will continue to outpace some wage increases, and he is citing China and the shaky global economy as things that will hold back a stronger growth rate, but we will grow. Kind of what we're saying, we have the best economy in the world. We have lots of opportunities to be optimistic, and we're going to have a 1 to 3% growth in home sales. The continued rise in home prices will occur because we have housing shortages in many markets. People will bite the bullet. They will find other creative ways to find financing. We're going to feel that again. He expects a slow second half of 2016, which is normal in a presidential election year.
Oh, sure.
That's a slow period. He thinks they're going to be about 5.26 million homes sold this year. 5.26 million homes. And last week, Dave, we talked about...
And you're going to sell about 5 million of them?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
No.
okay. 2 of them?
I can't write that fast.
Okay, 26 of them.
Somewhere between 2 and 5 million.
Okay, all right.
We talked about the impact on the economy that home sales has.
Yes, we did.
And
That was like
$52,000 is generated in the sale of a home,
Yeah.
besides the sale of a home and incomes and stuff, and it makes up Just somewhere between 14 and 16% of gross national product.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a big issue.
Yep. Okay.
It's a big deal.
No, I have a question. Going back to he talked about the jobs was improving. So I would lead you to believe. But now last week when the jobs report came out, the non-farm payroll thing and stuff, they broke that down. I mean, it was big news. They reported because it was like 290,000 jobs, and they were only expecting like 180 or something like that. It was a huge difference. And this would have been like January or December numbers. But then Barry B, but MBS Highway, they broke that down where those came from, those jobs, and it was the ages of the people that got the jobs were 17 to 22 and 55 and above, 55 to like 64.
Secondary retirement income.
So, it would, how many of those jobs are temporary for the Christmas season? And so we'll find out what this month looks like. It'll be interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, and he couches all of that. And when he talks about a jobs increase, we are adding to the, depends on how you say it, but we are adding to the numbers working. So there's more working people who may qualify for a loan, and that will help drive purchasing.
Absolutely.
Again, the big deal and is one of the largest things keeping young buyers out of the market is their student loans and those levels. And so
we talked about that too.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's all kinds of issues.
Did you cover that FHA is no longer allowing deferred student loans?
No, we didn't.
No.
Yeah, they changed.
That was the last bastion of help.
Yeah.
And FHA changed that. So.
Yep. Now you got to count them.
Yeah. No matter what, you got to count the payments.
Something we should.
And you assume a payment, right? If there's not one being made, you have to assume it's like 1%. Yeah, 1.5%. Okay.
Just a little trivia thing we should talk about. In 1874, on this day, January 14th, the Continental Congress ratified the Treaty of Paris, ending the Revolutionary War.
Okay, that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Today.
because we won.
We won.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, kind of less, a good thing we weren't the Vikings. We did win.
And how long? Oh, come on now.
Let's talk about healthcare or Obama or something. That seems less controversial
like the
than
Blair Walsh Project.
Blair
Walsh Project.
Yeah.
How long was the Constitution? How many pages? We had the Bill of Rights was 10 things that all fit on like one legal size paper, right?
I've seen the Constitution in Washington, D.C. They got the pages laid out, at the Smithsonian.
It's not a whole lot.
No.
You can stand there, you can see it.
It's certainly not as big as
no, we get to
Dodd-Frank.
No, it's Frank Dodd.
Frank Dodd.
Yeah.
Frank Dodd on this show.
On this show, it's Frank Dodd.
You're right.
We don't want to
Frank Dodd.
yell at Dodd-Frank, so it's Frank Dodd. And then in the Obamacare, you could not they couldn't lay that out, and you could not look at that in one.
Yeah. I don't think it was a dozen
swoop.
pages.
Yeah. We need to go back to stuff like that. Just simple.
My favorite thing about the government, our government, is a perfect Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
It's George Costanza. It's the opposite. So, like, they have the power to create.
I'm losing a cherry.
They have the power to create the opposite. So you want if all you want is huge banks that can't fail, make a law against them called too big to fail, and I promise you that's what we'll be left with.
And they're getting bigger. Yeah.
I mean, I promise you want more paperwork, create a law called the Paper Reduction Act.
There you go.
And I promise you, every mortgage, it kills me. Every one of our forms has in compliant with the Paper Reduction Act. And I'm going, how?
And the files have gone from an inch to
and that's
an
been
inch thick.
And that has been in effect for decades, I think. It hasn't helped.
Yes, there's just nothing about it. So
that's like paperless transactions.
Well, I guess now it has because there's less paper being distributed, but there's still more stuff.
Yeah.
So we need a reduction of stuff act.
Yeah, we need a limitation, document limitations.
There you go. There we go.
Then you'll just have volumes. That's
yeah.
So, but let's go ahead. We want to save the market stats for the last segment.
All right.
The rocket loan.
The rocket loan from Quicken.
Up and away.
It's making some waves. Go on there. Give your name. They take a pulse and you get a mortgage. That's what they make it look like. Can the new rocket loan take over the industry?
It's not that simple, though, is it, Joe?
No.
And
It's not that
new.
simple.
And it's okay, but it's smart because here's the deal. Here are the complaints of borrowers. The complaints of borrowers are, number one, there's multiple requests for information.
Yep.
Your loan officer calls you, you bring all your stuff in, you say, is that everything? Yep, that's everything, and then they call you back 5 days later, or the processor calls you back 5 days later, guess what they need?
More stuff.
More stuff.
Come on, man.
And then they call you back 5 days later, and guess what they need? More stuff.
More stuff.
And so the idea is trying to create a process where more people can experience satisfaction without that, take the highest qualified borrowers, try to make the process more simple for them. But like, for example, the first-time home buyers, is the Rocket Loan going to get them the first-time home buyer loan?
No.
No, it's not.
No.
So it's going to leave you out of options. Nobody's going to analyze your situation. Nobody's going to go, is this the best loan for you? Nobody's going to say, maybe we should, instead of putting so much money down, maybe we should pay off this car loan instead, or pay off this credit card instead, put less money down because of your plan and how long you plan to live in the house. Nobody's going to ask, should you do an adjustable rate mortgage? Nope. This is going to be kind of a one-size-fits-all, and then boom, you're going to...
It's buying something from Amazon.
Yep. And with one of the most important transactions, I just wonder how many people wind up refinancing out of a Rocket Loan to fix other things.
It'd be interesting.
But it's not a bad idea. I mean, because the borrowers have huge complaints.
Yeah.
And the other thing is last-minute problems. It's finding out 5 days before closing that there's, and Greg could sit here and probably, just tell us horror story after horror story with every bank in town, with every lender all over the country he's worked with where these things are true. And then the other thing, too, is communication. It's just lack of communication about the process, lack of transparency in the process. And what they're trying to do is take some borrowers that are highly qualified and make it really simple, fast, and easy for them. And it's a good marketing idea.
Would you say, though,
doesn't change anything.
If you're buying a house, I would advise against doing a Rocket Loan.
I absolutely would advise.
If you're refinancing, maybe it's okay, because then you're probably more worried about rate.
Is the interest rate better and is the payment better?
Yeah, but buying a home, there is stuff that can happen.
The other thing, too, is there's so much you need to know about appraisals. You need an advisor. You need a guide. You need Jim Bridger. Remember what happened to the Donner Party? They didn't pick Jim Bridger. They picked the other guy.
Yeah.
That Donner guy.
Yeah.
They picked that guy, and that's what happened. All right, after the break, we're going to talk about local market statistics. Greg's going to tell us all about what's selling, how it's selling, how much it's selling for, and all that stuff. After the break.
Right now, it's 30.
News and Views with Joel Heitkamp. Weekdays on Super Talk 1270.
Dakota Housing Network, we are back.
We're all young Americans here.
We're young Americans.
See, what is that?
From David Bowie?
Yeah, from David Bowie.
Yeah, where did that come from,
Where
right?
did that come from?
How did he get from Ziggy Stardust to Young Americans? With David Sanborn on the saxophone, right?
Right.
Mr. Easy Listening Jazz guy.
Under pressure.
Yeah. How do you get there?
That.
We got a full house today. We got Dave
it's
Floor.
Intimidating. I was listening to you guys talk about these guys and know who played sax on this song, and you're not looking at the cheat board.
No, I'm
That's
not.
just scary.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm a scary guy.
Yes, you are.
So, okay, wait. What's going on in the market,
right.
Greg?
Okay.
Here we go.
Actually, this is the year-end 2015. What happened?
So, was there a home sold in Bismarck, Mandan last year?
There was a home sold in Bismarck. There was 1,315 single-family homes sold in Bismarck.
Okay.
Hot diggity.
Excuse me, that's Bismarck, Mandan. I mean, the whole area. Numbers of houses, as we've talked, was off from 2014, which was our bellwether year. Almost identical to 2013. So the numbers of units sold was off. The dollar amount was up.
Okay. Now, is that Burley Morton counties?
This is the Bismarck Mandan market area, which is roughly a radius of 100 miles.
Okay, so you're even beyond the county lines.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like.
So you're talking Linton.
Linton,
Washburn,
New Salem,
Wilton,
Washburn, New Salem, that whole area.
All right.
But we're up 4% in the average list price and up 5% in the average sold price. So the market held. Numbers of units was off.
Yeah. So your house is worth the same at the end of the year, based on the annual report, but less houses are in demand.
It would take you longer to sell your house if you put it on the market today, probably than it would have.
Actually,
last year.
no. Days
Okay.
on the
Oh.
market went from 76
Well,
to 72.
That number doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, call me wrong.
Well, the interesting thing is, there's more houses on the market. There's more listings.
Okay.
This is sort of a returning to normal deal, but what's happened is it's gotten more competitive, so your list prices have to be more reasonable, and so when you have a more reasonable list price, it's a more reasonable purchase, so people are ready to buy them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it actually sounds weird, but it makes sense.
Okay. So now 2016 then will be an interesting year.
2016 should be.
We'll get a little more effect of what oil has done to.
Yeah.
We had the good side of it. Now we'll see if we end up with if this will be a big dump or a gentle flow.
I will make the absolute worthless Greg Larson prediction.
All right. Well, you do better. You can do just as well as T. Boone.
Yeah. Okay, we just talked the single-family homes here. There's a whole different deal of all residences, and this includes duplexes, condos, the works. We were up 3% and up 4% in list price and sold price. Days in the market is down. All of that. So it's the same story. Numbers of units overall is off. Market is good. 2016 is going to look just about the same as 2015 in numbers of units sold.
Okay.
So I don't think we're going to lose numbers of units sold, and we're going to probably appreciate in list price and sold prices somewhere in the 3 to 6%.
Okay. Well,
so it's going to look a lot like 2015, with the difference being the market will compress. What that means is there will be fewer low-price homes, and there will be fewer way high-price homes. The market will compress.
And we're hearing that already. I mean, we're hearing that there's some anecdotal evidence of, and this is the thing to be careful and be real careful about this, folks. Make sure you're getting expert advice on this stuff when you're applying these numbers to your own shopping.
Yes.
Because I'm hearing things like, well, there's a 20% markdown, or there's a 15% reduction in the listing price, or and that those numbers exist. They exist on almost all homes over $350,000.
Yeah.
So when you hear some of those big percentage reductions, that's almost non-existent in houses in the affordable housing range.
Right. What you're seeing is there's a lot of
and that's the compression you're talking about.
Yeah, the market was so crazy in 2013. And
everything went up.
Especially 2012, too, in high-price homes. We're building new homes at $600,000 and $800,000 a spec home. Well, we're not doing that anymore. Mm-hmm. But there's still people buying those homes, but they're pretty much pre-bought, pre-purchased. They're not, we'll build it and hope somebody comes along.
The
builder is building to somebody's specs. So, but we had a lot of
custom build or pre-sold.
Custom build.
We had a lot of $450,000 houses out there that should have been $375,000. Mm-hmm. Should have been all along. Mm-hmm. In the existing market and in new homes, it's just across the board. Everyone's thinking, well, that's where the price is. That's the kind of money we're going to get. Well, now it hasn't happened. So now you're seeing $20,000 price reduction, and it's and there are a few houses where that's happening. In those price ranges. Where that's happening.
The $190,000 house in Lincoln is not reducing at all.
Because they're selling.
And then the perception becomes, well, they're all overpriced. They're all going to come down like that. I can look at a $200,000 house and I'll get it for $180,000. Well, it's not going to happen.
And folks, that has been true as long as I've lived here.
Yeah.
And I've lived here 6 months. So no. I moved here in '98.
Yeah.
And as long as I've been here in '98, the houses in that upper 15% go through cycles of hot and cold.
Yep.
I mean, there are times where you can't unload. Well, like what we'd be in the $500,000 range is what I'm talking about now. Back then they would have been $300,000 houses, but the houses like in that range, in that $500,000 range, they're hot and cold. Can't get rid of one. See them listed for a year, and then all of a sudden, boom. So I don't know if a big employer comes in and hires a bunch of executives that move in, or if it's just the interest rates move to the right spot, or what happens. But you'll just see boom, and then again, it'll be like can't get rid of one.
Yep.
And then
do you see at those higher end homes like that? Are people putting them on the market and they're not getting the price they want, and then they're taking them off?
Some of that, some of it is well, I know John down the street. He sold his house last year for $500,000, and mine is as nice as his, so I'm going to sell mine for $500,000.
No. His always Mine is always nicer.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put the $50,000 into upgrading my home that he did because I don't need to.
Yeah, those stainless steel appliances don't matter.
Yeah. So
those granite countertops don't matter.
So now we've got a guy who can spend $500,000 on a house, and he's looking at this house that's priced for $500,000 that hasn't really been updated in 20 years. Well, I'll build my own.
And the other thing too,
I'm not going to spend that kind of money and then spend the renovation money.
Yeah.
So you tell the buyer, well, you got to either renovate or lower your price.
Yeah.
And it's just like Joe says, it's a cycle. It just goes.
And that's not. And we're talking about existing homes in those areas.
Yes.
The new construction in that price range is always consistent.
Yes.
There's always new construction in that price range of $400,000 to $1 million, and here's why: we have very frugal, non-assuming rich people. Our rich people do not build $1.5 million homes routinely.
For the most part.
What they do is they build very nice $400,000 to $700,000 homes when they could easily afford 2 to 3 times that. Mm-hmm. But they build these other ones, and then they put enough money down, finance them conventionally, and what they do is because they would rather build and they'd rather have the garage exactly the way they want it for an additional $100,000 or $50,000 in the kitchen or whatever. They have it exactly the way they want it for that additional $50,000 or $100,000, which the house might not even appraise for.
Mm-hmm.
But they'd rather have that, and they can build it in that price range because they're building way under their affordability anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd rather do that than to buy an existing home and deal with something that's just there's one extra step to the entryway that they don't want
and try to make it work.
Right, and have it redone. And so fortunately, unfortunately, that price range between 400 to 700 very consistent. Often has lots of new construction. The existing housing in that cycles depending on what buyers are available, and like I said, we have quite a few people who could easily afford to build $1 million to. But what they choose to do, they choose to own the property in Arizona, or they choose to own the property in Florida, or they choose to own the property in. They choose to have a condo in Minneapolis where they see their kids who go to school, and they build a more reasonable home here, and they could almost pay cash for it. And
so and that's
they build
very
exactly
true.
what they want.
But to get back
to
to the point is you need that advisor in a market that's kind of could be changing.
Yep.
And you need that advice. You can't listen to Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
About what's happening in a market and all that. So you need that advisor you see this stuff every day. Joel sees this stuff every day.
So
you
folks,
need to
if you're
talk
looking to
these guys.
sell your house, don't expect to see a line out the door to buy it anymore like there was 2 or 3 years ago where, if you didn't get
to get a line outside your home,
you have to pick from 3 different people the second day your house is on.
To get a line outside your home, you have to sell lottery tickets.
There you go.
No,
did anybody win that last night? I didn't hear.
The 3 winners,
different states.
I guess. Was it
California,
Florida?
Tennessee, and Florida.
Yeah,
one of them was a pretty big group of folks that bought. I understand,
Oh, okay.
but that doesn't matter.
No, they all got plenty of money.
I didn't want to win because I'd ruin my life.
Yeah.
Sad thing today, 1970, the Supremes, Diana Ross and the Supremes, performed their last concert.
Okay, name the other Supremes. Mary
Nancy
Wilson.
And
Nancy or Mary?
Nancy.
Florence Ballard.
Florence Ballard. There you
Mary
go.
Wilson.
And there was another one. I think Flo left. Right?
Flo left.
And was replaced by Cindy Birdsong.
Okay, boy, we're a sad bunch. We know these names.
I can't balance my checkbook, but I know all this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right.
Well, hey, thank you for tuning in to the Dakota Housing Network.
Next week, Brian Ritter.
Brian Ritter. Man, if you want to know what is going on around in this town, call into that show, 663-1270. Brian will tell you.
A couple weeks, 1, 2, or 3 of us will be here.
The statistics guru.
That's Brian?
That's Brian.
All right.
Well, go out there. Make a dream come true.